Hello everyone, welcome back to my Diamond Addiction. This is Valerie, and I am attempting my very first WIP in chat, and I have a feeling this is going to be disastrous, but we're going to try. What I am working on right now is a Diamond Art Club Mandy Manzano, I Miss You. Before we get started, I'll go ahead and insert a picture right here of what this canvas looks like, because right now you're just seeing like a very, very small section of what I'm doing. I'm not sure how the lighting is. I'm not sure if this is going to work, but we're going to give it a shot. In advance, I have kind of a scratchy throat, so if you hear me take a drink, well, I'm taking a drink. I also don't usually vape in my videos. However, this has been an extremely stressful week, as you're about to hear, and I'm pretty much freight training my vape right now. So, let's go ahead and get started. If there are interruptions, I will try to pause. If my dogs bark, I will try to pause. But I'm just going to do the best I can with what I'm working with at this moment. I'll start with, I was tearing my craft room apart, moving it around, reorganizing it. And I had to stop doing that for a little while. So what I'm filming in is the middle of a disaster. So here goes. My daughter, okay, so back up again because I'm scattered. I've been missing a lot lately. Videos very, very sporadic. Replies to the comments on my videos, even more sporadic. Haven't really been in any lives. Haven't really been watching other videos. I have, just not as much as I was before. My Facebook group has been just completely neglected by me. So let me just start by apologizing for that. My life has been out of control. Out of my control, anyway. So let's just get right into where in the world has Valerie been. My youngest daughter, Mercedes, she is also Sky's mother. Sky's been in a couple of my videos. She got married in June. Found a really great guy, got married. I'm switching colors here because I'm not sure if you can see what I'm doing, so I'll just tell you. I'm switching colors. They got married. Mercedes has been wanting another baby for a long time. And they finally, they got pregnant. She got pregnant. He helped her. Let me get a different color out here so I can work on this and not say a lot and fumble around here. I kitted this week while I was sitting in the hospital, so nothing's really open. Everything's just in bags and sorted, and my labels put on because I was having Sky help me do some stuff to keep her entertained. Okay, so where was I? Oh, so we found out she was pregnant. She has endometriosis and has had a really hard time getting pregnant. So we find out she's pregnant, and everything's going along great. Everybody's happy. Everybody's celebrating. She gets to 20 weeks and goes in for they call it a gender check ultrasound. And they're seeing some things that are alarming to them. There are some cysts on the umbilical cord. Her size is a little bit off of what it should be. Not a lot, not alarming, but a little bit. So they changed it from a gender check to basically a health check. You know, let's check the baby out. Well, they find out that she's got an issue with her, the valve on her heart, and it looks like a couple other heart issues. So she's got something on her brain, but it's not alarming because normally they just go away by themselves. And I can't remember what they're called because this has been a bit ago. But normally they go away by themselves, so it's not a big deal. They actually saw those things on her brain in the previous ultrasound, so when she checked this time, they were gone. So that was a good thing. But then there were other things that didn't seem so good. So they sent my daughter and her husband over to the neonatal specialists that specialize in these kind of things, like the heart defect, things like that. So some time goes by, we get into them to see them, and they do a more in-depth ultrasound. Yep, there's issues with the heart. Yep, that cyst is growing, and it's the weirdest thing we've ever seen. We've actually never seen one like that. There's a thickening of the umbilical cord right at the insertion point, which is where the umbilical cord goes into the baby. That's what they call the insertion point. So then now they want to do some genetic testing. Sorry, I thought somebody was coming down here. Okay. So now they want to do some genetic testing. So they send Mercedes over for some genetic testing. It's just some blood work, different things. Longest week ever. Hold on, someone's here. Okay, sorry about that. That was my brother. As he was in here talking to me, I did some more of this. So now we're on a different color again. We're going to finish up this section that I'm working on. Okay, so longest week ever. We go back for the follow-up appointment with the specialist. And the first ultrasound tech comes in, does some things, measuring things, looking at things. Comments about the big cyst that she has growing next to the baby. At this point, the cyst is bigger than the baby, which is alarming, but they're still, you know, everything's okay. Then the specialist comes in and looks at a few things, and we can see some of the things that they're doing. First of all, they're really interested in the heart, which, okay, she's got a defect. Please check that out. They're checking out her brain. verified. Yep, those things are gone. And then they're looking a lot at her head and her face and her lips and her hands and her feet. And at this point, we still don't know that she's a girl because she wouldn't show them her pieces parts. Well, then the specialist tells us that the reason we can't see her pieces parts is because that cyst is pushing on her. But it takes him all of 30 seconds or so to go, well, did you want to know what it is? Because I can tell you, it's a girl. Yay, everybody's happy, it's a girl. You know, at this point, we're girl, boy, whatever. She's having a baby, and that's what she wanted. Then the specialist tells her to go ahead and wipe all the goop off of her stomach from the ultrasound, and they wanted to take us into the conference room and discuss what they found. I don't know if you've ever been to a specialist or had your family member at a specialist, but anytime you hear we want to go into the conference room, you know it's not going to be great news. So they let us clear back through into this conference room and had us sit down around a table. And the specialist proceeded to tell us that the blood work had come back and their baby had, and I'm probably going to say this wrong because I have heard it pronounced so many different ways by so many different doctors and nurses, trisomy 18. Okay, I had no idea what trisomy 18 was. So it's like he just spoke Chinese to me. But we could tell that it wasn't a good thing. The doctor then proceeds to kind of tell us what it means. It is considered a lethal diagnosis. There have been a few reported cases of babies with this trisomy 18 living years. For the most part, here's the numbers we were told. You have about a 50% chance. No. You have about a 30% chance that she will be born alive, that she will survive the pregnancy and labor. Of that 30%, you have about a 2% chance of her leaving the hospital and being able to go home with you. These numbers may be askew now because it's been so long. I just know that we were extremely devastated. These signs that they were looking at, the cysts on the cord and the heart issue and her hands were supposed to be kind of like, this is my first finger, kind of like this, like with this, the first index finger kind of curving over the other fingers. Are all signs of the trisomy 18. What it is an extra chromosome 18. Extra chromosome on the 18th chromosome. However you want to say that. If she were to survive, she wouldn't be healthy. She would need constant medical care. And then they proceeded to tell us that in the state of Utah, because that's where we live, with a lethal diagnosis, one of her options was to abort the baby. Now let me lead right here with saying it didn't feel in any way like he was trying to push her to abort the baby. He was just telling her this is an option. Sadie looked at him like she was mortified that he would even suggest such a thing. So the doctor went back and clarified that I'm not telling you that that's what I recommend or what I suggest. It is only an option. This is my trash one, and it had just a couple trash things in it, so I just dumped it in there. It is only an option. Now you're gonna have to hear crinkly. I am so sorry about all this. But I didn't put all of the colors. I didn't open all the bags while I was in the hospital because I wasn't actually opening any of the bags. So I gotta get me some more 310. Okay, so she could abort the baby if she wanted to. She says, no, that's not happening. So from this point on, at this point she's about 20 weeks. 21 weeks-ish. From this point on, she had an appointment with the specialist to get an ultrasound every 2 weeks, and an appointment with her doctor every 2 weeks. So it kind of went, 1 week we went to the specialist, 1 week we went to the OB. The next week we went to the specialist, the next week we went to the OB. Can you see where I'm at here? Yeah, I think you can see it okay. Yeah, I'm just doing this little section right here. They monitored both Mercedes and the baby very carefully. At one point, they sent us up to Primary Children's Hospital in Salt Lake City. And my hand's right in the way. I'm sorry, but you're not watching anyway, so it doesn't matter. They sent us up to Primary Children's Hospital up in Salt Lake City to a neonatal heart specialist. It really has a name like this long for it, but I don't remember what that name is. So, neonatal heart specialist. So we all took a couple days off work. Me, my daughter, and her husband. And we went up to Salt Lake City. Went to this specialist. Probably the first good news we had gotten since the diagnosis that the baby had the trisomy 18. They looked all through her heart, and they found one small minor defect. It was just a valve that had a little extra flappy skin. Wouldn't affect anything, but the main defect that had been spotted before was in the aorta of her heart. These people were very nice and kept calling it the candy cane for us because that's what they were trying to find the defect in. So we knew when we were looking at this ultrasound, we were looking for a candy cane. Candy cane shape. The defect that was in the aorta was gone. Which meant that as long as the other organs were working okay, Emma could potentially, that was what they were going to name the baby, was Emma. That's what, at this point, that's what they had thought they wanted to name her. She had a much better chance of surviving long enough to go home. Now keep in mind at this point, Mercedes is hoping and praying that she just gets to meet the baby. They decided so most of them that survived through childbirth died within an hour, usually within 15 minutes, just because their organs don't work right, and they just pass away. So she and her husband are fighting with everything they've got to be able to meet their daughter and make the best of the time they had. If it's 15 minutes, they want to make that the best 15 minutes that they could possibly make it. With, them and Sky first, and then the grandparents and the family. They wanted that to be, at this point, that's what they're figuring they're fighting for. They're striving for 15 minutes with their baby. So time continues to go. The heart looks fine. The other organs look like they're working okay. Her heartbeat is great. We pass the 30-week milestone. Then we have the conversation of with the specialist, and then also with her doctor. If she passes the 36-week mark and goes into labor, so trisomy 18 babies don't deal well with labor. That's where they lose a lot of them, is during the labor process, if they've made it to that far, is the labor process. So they told Sadie that if she went into labor and the baby started having distress, they needed her to think about whether she wanted them to do a C-section, because there's risks involved with a C-section, and try to get the baby out of there so that they could meet her. Remember, they're trying for 15 minutes. That's their goal. They want 15 minutes. If they get more, they consider themselves extremely blessed. They want 15 minutes. And the doctors knew this. We had discussions with the specialist and her doctor at length. It's not something that the medical board likes especially, but it's not something that the doctors would get in trouble for. So Mercedes and Henry talked about it, and they decided that yes, if they made it past the 36-week mark, if she went into labor and the baby got distressed, that they would do a C-section so that they could hold her and bond with her. So here we are, 30-week mark. Our new goal is the 36-week mark, right? And at this point now we're seeing the specialist every week and her doctor still every other week. So weeks go by doing these doctors and specialists appointment, and everything is just looking great. Heartbeat is strong. Movement is great. She's growing. She's still underweight, but she's growing. At 34 weeks, I think she measured the progress of 32 weeks. This is when they tell us that Mercedes has an abundance of water. The problem with having an abundance of water is it can start your labor early. So that's kind of a concern, but they're watching it. The cyst is still there, growing slightly, but not bad. Blood flow is going great to the baby. You know, we're at 34 weeks. We are going strong. We're feeling great. 35 weeks comes around. 36 weeks comes around. Now we're seeing both the, or at 35 weeks, we started seeing both the specialist and the doctor every week. And then at 36 weeks, everybody got so excited. We made the 36-week mark. Go to the specialist. He says, you know what? I don't think we'll need to see you back because we don't think you're going to make it to 40 weeks. And at this point, if you go into labor, then we'll be there and we'll help any way the doctor wants us to while you're in labor. They send down the neonatal specialist to talk to us. This, I don't know, this was probably at the 34-week mark from the NICU. He's the one that takes care of the babies. To decide what kind of care they want for the baby. Do you want, it's called palliative, something like that, care, which is basically baby's born, they do the normal suction stuff, maybe give her a couple puffs of air just through a mask. You know, normal things they would do for every baby that's born. Or if they wanted life-saving measures taken when she was born. Now these kids have made some extremely rough decisions up until this point. Decisions that nobody should have to make. And they are doing it together. Now they've been married for less than a year. We're coming up on a year, but at this point, you know, it's less than a year. And things like this rock marriages. But they're doing, you know, they're doing great. They're making all the decisions together. They're supporting each other. They decided that they wanted the palliative care. Palliative. And if I'm butchering that word, please don't crucify me because I'm tired. Just give her every chance to thrive on her own. They didn't want life support. They didn't want oxygen tubes run up her nose. They didn't, none of that. They didn't want her to suffer. So that decision was made. Okay, so now fast forward again to 36 weeks. Like I said, everything at the appointment was great. And then 37 weeks. We go into the doctor. Everything looks great. Her heartbeat was strong. Her movement is strong. Emma is doing fantastic. Sadie's doing fantastic. Henry's doing good. You know, mentally preparing yourself because the time is coming when the baby's coming. This week, on Thursday, for her 38-week appointment, we went to the doctor. Like I said, she's no longer seeing the specialist, so we go to the doctor. We have one appointment a week again now. Sorry. And the doctor couldn't find the baby's heartbeat. At first it wasn't overly concerning, you know, because she's small. But he couldn't find the baby's heartbeat. So he goes and talks to the ultrasound tech. And she says, have them come back in 20 minutes and I can do an ultrasound for them. So we left. Walked outside, vaped like crazy. Me and Henry did. That's my son-in-law. Vaped like crazy and prepared ourselves for the next, what comes next. The time goes by, we go into the ultrasound. And she can't find a heartbeat. Baby Emma was gone. This is hard. So this was on Thursday. They told Sadie that she had a day or two to decide when she wanted to be induced, and that she would have to go through labor and delivery, and her baby was gone. So we came home. Holy crap, this thing's way too full. Oh, they came over here to my house. And they talked. And they called the doctor back and said she would like to be induced this afternoon, please. So this all happened about noon. The doctor called over to labor and delivery at the hospital. And labor and delivery told them that it would be sometime in the afternoon. So now here we are, sitting on the couch, waiting for a phone call to tell her that she could go be induced. Finally, about 5 o'clock in the evening, my son-in-law had had enough and called the number over to labor and delivery and handed the phone to my daughter so that she could call. She could talk to him and say, hey, well, when do I get to come in? They told her to come in at 6:30. 6:45. And they would have a room available for her. So they went home over to their house to shower, and Henry needed to change out of his work clothes because the plan was same as last week, go to the doctor's appointment, and then after it's done, go to work. And it didn't turn out that way. So he wanted to take a shower, change his clothes out of his work clothes, pack some stuff for them, gather some stuff for Sky to be entertained, because at this point Mercedes isn't even thinning or dilating, so it's going to be a long labor. And make the preparations. So they went to the hospital at 6:45. I'm sorry if this is too graphic right here, but they used to just start you with Pitocin. Well, because Mercedes wasn't thinning or dilating or anything, they have something that they just about looks like a Tic Tac kind of, and they just put that inside of her, and it makes her cervix start thinning and dilating. Starts contractions. So they did that, and away we go. I went to the hospital at 7:30. I took Taylor over, dropped her off with her mom. Went to the hospital about 7:30 by the time I got there. And the waiting game was on. Now, Henry's parents are from Boston. So they jumped on the first flight here from Boston. The closest major airport to land at is Vegas. McCarran Airport, I think is what it is. And that's like an hour and a half away. The way I drive, it's like an hour and a half away, I guess. It could be longer, I don't know. So that's where they're flying into. And they will land at midnight, and the first shuttle up to here is at 6 o'clock in the morning. So that would have put them sitting in the airport from midnight till 6 in the morning to get on the shuttle to come up here. Some people that Henry knows decided that wasn't good enough. They went down and actually picked them up at the airport. We have had some amazing, amazing support and help through all of this. So it was probably midnight. Mercedes looks exhausted. Henry looks wiped out. Sky's tired, and there's one little couch bed. You ever been in a hospital room? You know what I'm talking about, where the back folds out and it's like a mattress, and it's, yeah. I decided I'm going home. They can get some sleep. Call me if anything changes or if you need me back. It takes me about 10 minutes to get from my house to the hospital. So yeah, I went home. Tried to sleep. Thought I slept actually really good, but I didn't. Got back up in the morning. Now it's Friday morning. Got back up in the morning and went to the hospital. We had family members there. Sky was there. Yeah, people going in and out, in and out, in and out. She's dilating, but very slowly. Finally, she got dilated to a 4. Doctor came in, broke her water. They upped the Pitocin a little bit. Actually, I think that was 3:15-ish in the afternoon. Hold on, that's my husband calling. Okay. Where was I? I think I was telling you she was dilated to 4, and the doctor came in, broke her water, and said that things should move along a little more quickly, but most likely it would be a while. So we had some people that were getting hungry. Sky needed to go for a run because she's been just cooped up in that hospital room too long. And Mercedes looked like she needed a nap. So we all left for a little bit. Sent people off to eat. The nurse says, I'll check her again in 45 minutes, see how she's progressing, and I should be able to give you an estimated time frame. Please don't hold me to it because babies do what they want to, but I should be able to give you an estimated time. So people leave to eat, different appointments they had, thinking that we had a long time left. And I get back upstairs and into the family waiting room, trying to let Mercedes take a nap. And Sky at this point was in with her mom and dad. And Henry calls and says, baby's coming. What, wait, right now? Yep, right now. Okay, I'll be right there. So they decided, the original plan was to have Sky in the delivery room so that she could meet her sister. After finding out that Emma was an angel, they decided that maybe she shouldn't be in there because, well, there are certain things that can happen when a baby dies before being born. And they decided that they didn't want to take a chance that Sky would see something that may emotionally scar her. That is the wrong color. So I opened the door to go in, and Henry's bringing Sky out. So I hand Sky off to my oldest daughter, Sadie's oldest sister, to take back to the waiting room to sit with Nicholas, my son, and the rest of the family that was waiting in there. As I walk through the door, the nurse, again, graphic here a little bit, sorry, is holding the baby's head, trying to slow down the process of her coming out. Luckily, the doctor was 2 rooms down. He was already in the labor and delivery area. So they grabbed him, and baby Emma came out. Now, the nurses had prepared us for some things that could happen, so, you know, when they tell you some of the things that could happen, you just picture the most awful things. And yes, she was a little bit swollen, and she was purple. Had a purple tint to her. But she was beautiful. Beautiful baby girl. I chose at this point to give Mercedes and her husband some time alone with their baby girl. I mean, I knew my baby girl was okay. I'm looking at her, and physically she's okay. So I needed to give them time alone with their baby girl. That was Friday. We all came in later, held the baby, talked to her, said our goodbyes. And then I took Sky home with me to spend the night with me Friday night. Me and my husband and our two boys that were here. Yesterday was one of the hardest things I've ever seen in my entire life. We knew it had to happen. But when the funeral, the guy from the funeral home came to pick up the baby, watching my daughter and my son-in-law hand off their baby to be taken away. Was one of the hardest things I have ever seen. Absolutely devastating. And then to help them pack up their stuff and get ready to leave that hospital without a baby. I hope none of you ever have to go through that. It is something I believe that will change their lives forever. They are home. While they were in the hospital, my brother and my son went and got the few baby items that they had set up just in case she got to come home, and the couple of outfits that they had bought for her, and removed it from their home. We asked them first, and they said yes, that we would appreciate that. So we did that. They did that. We went over yesterday, last night, hung out, did a barbecue, fixed their awning. Henry's parents have been here. They did get to see Emma. They were at the hospital when she was born. Now I'm just kind of tying things up, and it's really random facts here, sorry. And they're going to be okay. I hope. I am so, so, so proud of my daughter and her husband for the way that they have handled all of this. The way that they have handled everything that's happened to them, trying to explain everything to Sky in a way that Sky will understand. And be so strong while Sky cried. It's hard to explain to a 6-year-old why you don't get to take your baby sister that you have waited for. Why you don't get to take her home. Even after preparing her for everything, she still didn't quite understand. And no matter their heartbreak and their pain, they have put the needs of Sky first. So I could not be more proud of my daughter and her husband. And Sky, who's trying to be so brave right now. Any thoughts, prayers, kind wishes, positivity that you would like to send in the way of my daughter would be very much appreciated. Which brings me down to, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to close this out because I'm going to lose my shit here pretty soon if I don't. This is why I've been gone. This is why my life has been super crazy. And this is why I'm doing this canvas now. Because it is for her and her husband to put in their house. The nurses that we had at the hospital were so amazing. They did so much. So much for our entire family. And words could never express how grateful I am to the nursing staff there, especially Kathy. If anybody knows Kathy at Dixie Regional Medical Center, tell her I said thank you from the bottom of my heart. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. Not even sure if I will upload this or not, but thought I should let people know where I've been and what's been going on. So, thank you all to my family and my friends for being there. Our family is really close, and everybody that was able to make it there made it. A couple of you other creators knew what was going on in my life, and I'm so thankful for the support and kind words that I have received from you as well. Okay. Thank you all for watching and subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, as long as they're nice comments, I will not tolerate any rudeness about this situation at all. Go ahead and leave them in the comment section down below. And I'm out of here. I survived a WIP and chat. Even an emotional one, so hey go me. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.